Gambit's death stands as the most shocking moment in X-Men 97, and the Marvel Studios series has just made the hero's return pretty much impossible.
That's impossible.
Welcome to 30's Feedback, folks. So, Marvel has just changed its rules of time travel again, and this time, X-Men 97 makes Gambit's possible return from the dead hopeless. Marvel Studios still has to present its live-action version of the X-Men, with the studio only using multiverse variants played by actors who were part of Fox's X-Men franchise since Disney acquired that studio. Alongside that, Marvel Studios has used nostalgia in another key way, bringing back the world of the excellent X-Men the Animated Series on Disney Plus with an impressive roster of characters in X-Men 97. Since its debut, X-Men 97 has quickly become a sensation, being held highly as possible the best adaptation of the mutants outside of the comics. It's easy to see why, as the animated series does a great job of making all of its characters matter, instead of pretty much just Wolverine as was the case in Fox's movies. One of the series' standout characters was Gambit, who sadly died in the Genosha Massacre in Episode 5. Now, Marvel Studios' new time travel rules make Gambit's return from the dead this season or in X-Men 97 Season 2 likely impossible.
Dang! That's tough.
X-Men 97 just used the concept of absolute points in time. Marvel Studios' other animated series, What If, explain the concept as absolute points being events that simply cannot be changed. Otherwise, that could lead to the destruction of that entire timeline. That effect was practically shown in What If Season 1's Doctor Strange episode, where the variant of Benedict Cumberbatch's MCU character attempted to save the life of his Christine Palmer over and over. Eventually, Doctor Strange's efforts led to the destruction of his universe with him as the sole survivor. X-Men 97 names the concept but introduces a different way for absolute points to work. In the animated series, Cable explains that he has tried to stop the Genosha event several times, only he is pulled back from that moment every time he tries to travel there, as was shown in X-Men 97 Episode 5 when he was sent back to the future after meeting his mother, Madeline Pryor. On Twitter, X-Men 97 showrunner Bo DeMeo commented on how Cable's explanation of absolute points means no time travel can undo Genosha.
You can't undo who you are.
Based on Marvel's new explanation for absolute points, Gambit's death is likely to stick. The most common theory for how the character could come back hinged on Cable's presence in Genosha. However, the reveal that Nathan Summers has tried to undo the tragic event over and over, but is always pulled back from that moment in time means Gambit, Madeline Pryor, and countless other mutants are permanently dead. As Gambit was finally shining after being done dirty in live action, the news will surely upset fans of the character, and that includes me. However, it is perhaps good that X-Men 97 will not walk back on Gambit's death. The moment was one of the most shocking and emotional in any Marvel series, and undoing it would take away from Gambit's sacrifice, with the character dying to stop the three-headed Sentinel and save as many mutants as he could. Adding to that, X-Men 97 has already walked back on enough major deaths, revealing that Charles Xavier has been alive all this time and that Magneto never died in Genosha. Due to that, Gambit's death should stick, showing the series does have high stakes.
I don't believe you.
X-Men 97 included a scene where a display in front of Cable showed a very similar representation of the MCU's sacred timeline from before Loki created Yggdrasil at the end of Loki Season 2. The moment seemed to hint that X-Men 97 is part of the MCU's multiverse. However, showrunner Beau DeMayo chalked that up to borrowed iconography that would make the concept of absolute points easier for fans to understand without delving too much into it. DeMayo claims that X-Men 97's use of absolute points was so that there was no need to introduce a new word or concept when they could use one that fans were already familiar with. However, the X-Men 97 showrunner did concede that there is some crossover between the series and the MCU. DeMayo revealed that he views the series as its own neighbouring tree to the MCU's, but claimed that a few leaves from one tree can mingle with another at some point. While Gambit's death seems to be permanent, it is interesting that X-Men 97 is exploring an MCU concept.
Interesting.